This is episode 2 of the mini-series. I'm not going to call it a podcast because I hate podcasts, but also this board uses a platform to help the businesses. Today, I have Ben Engel on, who's a young, bright talent in the Louisville area.
Yes, sir.
And I'm excited because, you could tell when somebody has that fire in them, and Ben has it. He's starting off his junk. It's not removal, but garage clean out.
Yes, sir.
What it is?
Yeah, that's a good understanding. We are essentially a junk removal company, but we want to get specific. We want to specific niche is kind of what the way we like to advertise. So garage clean out, storage units, basements, decks, attics. You name it, we do it.
Okay.
So that's kind of the idea there.
All right. So, what's the story behind Ben? Because you currently are in insurance.
Yes, sir.
But then you're starting this business.
Yes, sir.
But it seems like this idea started from like you and your friends, but it seems like you guys are about to launch and grow pretty quickly. So
Right.
what's the story behind it, and like what got you guys into it? And what's the plan?
So just a little background of everything. So we all grew up in Louisville. My two other buddies that were we're running the show right now. Went to Trinity High School. We've always talked about at Trinity. What is our what's the biggest goal at the end of the day? We're like starting a business. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know when it's going to be. So we all went to UK together as well. So we've always floated some ideas. Pressure washing came up. I think there was another trash can removal, trash can clean out kind of came up as well. Great ideas. It's just there's just kind of more opportunity what we want to do now. So like I said, we've always had that same vision, that entrepreneurial mindset of what we want to start a business. We just don't know how or when, right? So like I said, we floated a bunch of ideas. This one we were like, okay, there's not a lot of overhead costs. We're gonna have to do a lot of marketing. We are. So we saw a few videos online. Gary Vee. I'm sure you're familiar with Gary Vee. He was interviewing somebody who had the garage clean out business. That wasn't the main reason we kind of chose that, but it was like it made us think. So we were like, okay, this could work out. So we were kind of floating the idea. I introduced it to them. They were like, that is amazing. Let's give it a try. And it kind of just goes back to we're young. We're all 23. Why not take a risk now? I'm still currently living in my parents' house, and they are as well. One's in Lexington, one's about to move to Bowling Green. But we're all young, and we don't have any kids. We don't have any debt. So we were like, okay, why not take a risk now? And that's what I preach to. I preach to everyone, all the young generation is, take that risk now. And that's kind of my mindset with everything. So yeah, that's a little bit of background, a little bit to answer your question.
Yeah. So my next question is, you went to UK?
I did.
All right. Podcast is over, guys.
Podcast, yeah.
Cut.
It's funny. I'm a huge Louisville fan, though.
Yeah, you said it earlier. I was like, all right, there's some saving grace
I know,
there. I can't blame you. UK. It's funny. My friend, his daughter's going to UK, or no, she's not. But the plan is for her to go to UK. So she's like number 8 or 3 in the world in archery.
Sure.
And she's in high school. And he's like, yeah, like I guess UK has a good archery program or something. So
yeah, I feel like I've heard.
You want to bash on them, but at the end of the day, they have what they have.
Uh-huh.
But what's crazy is you said something really powerful that I think not too many people get, where it used to be the college was the way to make it. Like college was like, oh, you got to go there and get a degree and have everything figured out. And then 2, where you probably heard it just as much as I have, where like you have buddies where like, hey dude, we're gonna start this business with trading Pokemon cards, and you're like, no bro, like that's not gonna go anywhere. But this seems different, man, because it seems like yeah, you and your 3 friends were thinking about this, but it looks like there's a little bit of a plan behind it. So obviously, like you said, the overhead's low, the freedom of time is there because you don't have families, but that gives you more opportunity to really dig into it. So what comes to mind is, since this is new, since you guys are growing from there, what's going to separate this from, 1, being just an idea that you thought of in your garage, but 2, to expand it into a scalable business?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say right now it's a lot of a lot of just building relationships. And you're in the same business, building relationships. It doesn't matter, what you know about it. It's really about who you know. So I always, all the networking and all the chambers we're going to, all the, visiting the BNIs, they're all great. And, we're meeting somebody every single day. And we always say, our president, our day one, we always said, meet 5 different people.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter who it is, what they do, just meet them, build that relationship. And whenever they need your service, they'll be calling you because they met you and you have a good relationship with them. They might not need it right now, but they might know somebody that does need your service. So that's kind of the idea there. Just trying to get your name out to as many people as we can. And, it also goes back. It can be a little tough because obviously we're young and people are like it comes down to the the credibility factor of everything. But we want to be different. We want to be different in different ways. So we're just trying to get our name out there, and we're learning. We're learning so much about everything. It didn't know there was going to be this much stuff you have to kind of take on when starting a business. But it's at the end of the day, it's a learning curve.
Yeah. So what makes you different, right? So like you said, the key thing that stood out was obviously the relationships, but I mean, you see the 2 guys in a van or truck, whatever they are, going around. You see, hey, you probably got some buddies who pay some pizza and beer. I mean, what's different about you guys? Like, what's the process? Like, why is working with you beneficial than just hiring your buddies on a weekend?
Yeah, I mean, so what we kind of already mentioned it already. We aren't operating as a junk removal company. We are one. We'll the 3 things I always say that we do with it. Option 1, take it to the junk, get rid of it, get it off your hands, get it off our hands. Second is, refurbish it and bring back life to it. Third is, partner with some other community partners. So St. Vincent de Paul, Goodwill, Habitat for Humanity. You name it. That's where we want to separate ourselves in the community. We want to give back. Everything. There's always the money's what you want at the end of the day, but giving back to the community is what we want. We're trying to find different ways to kind of separate ourselves, but I know the garage, advertising as a garage clean out is one way we want to, because people always need to Willie, I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you today. I want you to go in your neighborhood today. I want you to count out a few houses that have 3 or 4 cars in their driveway because they can't fit stuff in their garage. And then I want you to call me.
Yeah. That's a good way. That's a perfect way right there. But you're right. I mean, because the garage is the first thing that gets everything thrown out there.
Right.
So is that kind of what you guys look for? Like, is that let's say you're in a neighborhood and that's part of the way that you market yourselves is just reaching out to the families, or networking is one piece,
right,
which is a huge component.
Right.
I mean, I tell everybody, like, networking should be, even if you don't own your own business, should be at some capacity of your wheelhouse. But I mean, what's that look like? I mean, because like I said, one, not everybody considers their stuff junk, because that means, like the grandmother's china cabinet is not junk, even though whatever. But
right,
is that kind of like how you guys are approaching it? Is like, hey, like, do you have a full garage, or what's the approach?
Yeah, I guess the approach there is kind of just what do you have that can there be we want to answer questions. Can there be some value in what you're kind of giving to us or giving away? We sit there, we think hey, you got a desk or a couch or something like that you want to get rid of it, but you think there's some life, and then maybe we give it to somebody who needs it more than us, right? Somebody who just moved into that house, their first time home buyer that moved into their house. Like, we want to just kind of help them out at the end of that. And we're gonna we want to give back to the client as well. So we might be like an 80% 20 split with them, and then that 20% goes. If they don't want to keep it, they pick a charity and we donate to the charity of their choice. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's a big thing. So you're saying, like, okay, this side desk or side table, whatever, they just went out of their houses sitting there, but you're saying, hey, like you said, you want to be, it's an investment back into the community or your people, because Goodwill may be able to seal this, or the Veterans Association, or you can, like you said, you can refurbish stuff as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you're partnering with people that will refurbish
Yes, yeah, that, and that's, that's kind of what we, I guess, what we want that to be our number one option. Take it, if there's something that's completely beat up, a pile of crap that needs to go to junk, we'll happily do that. But we want to bring life back to it, give it to the community, meet a split with the client, donate to these charities, help out any way we can. See?
Okay, so are there communities or charities that you guys are already?
Yeah, so Goodwill's been a big one, and then same as in DePaul. Since I've been growing up, we've always donated to them because they just do so much work to give back to the community. People who need they need this stuff. So that's a big one. Habitat is, we haven't formally given them anything yet, but that's going to be another partner we have to help them out for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Are there charities that you guys are going to try like expand to, or other ones that you're trying to get linked up with right now?
I'm just it's funny, a lot of the events I go to, and we kind of mention, kind of just give our elevator pitch, and we talk about that. Somebody's giving me one every single day. So it's very, I've got a list of them written down where, they take specific things, some takes, couches and desks, and some takes, more commercial stuff, right? So anybody who has something that, or a charity that would use our services, we'd love to help them out.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, that's cool. So not even necessarily like, I mean, because I'd imagine, like, people moving in and moving out, I don't know if realtors or whatever thing, but probably people in that realm where they're like, okay, well, we have this client who's moving out, and
Yeah.
they just want to, I hear it all the time where people are like, we just want to get out of the house, and
Yeah.
you have whatever. Like, have you had realtors, or like, are there people outside of the charity events that you are working with, or is it just kind of like,
Sure.
hey, we're all over the place right now?
We are. I mean, we are all over the place. Any client we want to help out, we can. So but real estate agents, realtors, brokers, anything along those lines. Those are our best friends.
Okay.
So mortgage lenders are great. Any senior home facility care. The older you get, the more less you're able to move some stuff around. So we want to be those young guys to help you out. So anybody along those lines, we'd love to just partner with you and refer business back to each other.
Yeah.
So our best friends are those three categories: mortgage lenders, real estate agents, and senior home care.
So what's the nastiest or the worst job? Like, have you guys had like one where you're just like, oh my gosh, this is unimaginable?
I mean, nothing too crazy. We definitely will. If we circle back and we shoot another one of these in about 3 or 4 months, I'm gonna have probably 3 or 4 stories for you. No, I mean, it's the first time I ever saw the waste production center on Poplar Road, I was blown away.
Yeah.
I was like, it's like organized, but it's not. There's like so much crap everywhere, So I was like, it is a funny story. My buddy was tossing me a few things, and there was a hay bale that I didn't see, and I was like grabbing it, and then I didn't see this thing, and it was a heavier item, so I did a backflip right over this thing. So that's one of the funnier stories. I did a backflip over this thing. I had to throw this item I had, and it was gross.
Yeah.
That was probably the funnier story we've had so far.
Yeah, because I imagine, I mean, you're brave, because I've had to help many of friends with moving their stuff, and I'm like, I remember way back in the day, I had a friend, like a family member was moving out, and they just hoarded everything. Like, have you ever ran into that situation where like somebody's just a hoarder and they keep every receipt
Yes.
and wrapper?
Oh
and,
my gosh!
Like,
And then when you kind of approach them, you got to approach them in different ways. And
Yeah.
As a client, hey, you got some stuff that we probably should take. And then they're like, no, we want to keep it and hoard it. We're like, we're power to you.
Yeah.
We're not gonna be, but we just want to help them out. So we have ran into a few, to your point, that I've been hoarding, and we're just like, well, we'd love to help you out, but circle back in a couple months, and we'll come back over and take a look again.
Yeah.
So it's more power to them, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, so what's the goals? I mean, you, like I said, like, is there, I would say, like you said, like going through the neighborhood, if you see cars in the driveway, things like that. But are there like specialty, like, who would be the people that would call you, and who are the people that you want to call you, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, especially in this time, that this season, so we're approaching, we're trying to get ahead of, the whole spring clean out. Spring, it's really anybody at any time can call us. And, I've had people who just want a few things moved to their basement, a few things moved to their attic, so it's really anybody. But we're trying to, kind of abide by the season. So tomorrow, we're a clean out business, and we do all that tomorrow. There's a big, snowstorm coming, so we're gonna go, get shovels. So it's kind of, we're operating as like an in-season, business, I guess you could say. So spring clean out, the Kentucky Derby is obviously big in Louisville, so people always are wanting to get prepared for that.
I didn't
Summer
think
clean,
about that.
yeah. So I mean, summer clean out, in the fall, so it's we're gonna be busy.
Yeah.
Every single day, every single weekend.
Yeah. Have you guys gotten those calls, or have you guys even?
Yeah.
Because I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I mean, we got a call literally yesterday. It was a connection from a realtor that had just met that they just needed a few things done. So. And then we've got ones, set up for, already scheduled for April. I got a call. I got one scheduled for April for a spring cleanout. And I was like, this is amazing. So it's, just trying to stay ahead of it. We're going to get some marketing materials out there for, probably within the next few weeks. But spring cleanout.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, what is it? January, almost February. I'd imagine.
Time's flying.
Yeah. So from there, okay. So I mean, is that kind of like the thing right now where? I mean, like I said, we're late January, the day before Snowmageddon hits the area. But is that kind of, like you said, the seasonal thing where it's just like, hey, dude, like spring's 2-3 months away.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a lot of like right now, just trying to get the name out there. Obviously, is our first priority. But then people are they're already calling like, I'm gonna need you for spring. I might not need your services right now, but I can tell you what, like. Once spring comes around, my garage is fuller than you can think of.
Yeah.
So that's when we want to step in, help them out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a huge thing right now. We're just trying to get ahead of it before it gets too late.
Yeah. So what's it look like working with you guys? Like that's one other thing because of mine is I mean, yeah, is it just like, all right, man, let's hop in my friend's car and we'll roll up and do this, or like. What's it like working with you guys? I mean, as far as the process and everything.
Yeah, so we're right now we're in our early stages. So we're operating out of U-Haul and kind of doing all of that, and we've got a buddy's truck and a trailer we've been borrowing too. So it's just kind of fluctuates. Working with us is fun. I give a lot of praise to my two partners. They do a whole lot. For the business. Like I wouldn't be here without them.
Mm-hmm.
So they're great. We like to just have our fun for sure. We wanna just like it goes back to the whole building relationships with clients. If there's a client that needs our help, we wanna be the best team, best business that would help them out.
Mm-hmm.
Help them out. So yeah, I mean it's a good time working with us, but it's also we want to get the job done. We want to be the best to get that done.
Yeah. So. You guys are a full service capability.
Mm-hmm.
So is there a scale to like not like in 2 years or whatever, but I mean like you said you had a U-Haul
Right.
that you can get the trailer and the
Sure.
truck. So is there like a capacity or a scale that you guys can work up to? Like
Yeah.
Full house or I guess.
Yeah,
more
I mean,
details
there's
about that.
like there really is no capacity. Like, and I was telling somebody the other day, and they forget who it was. They work in commercial real estate. He said, yes, that kind of same question. He said, there's a few properties that there's a whole, I think it was like a Starbucks or something like that. It has a whole bunch of stuff, and like it would at least take 2 or 3 trucks. And I told him, I said, hey, we're very new, so we might not be able to do this right now, but if you need it next week, we're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to figure everything out. But to your point or to your question, we can do anything, anytime, any load. So we've got a commercial clean out in the Shelbyville area, I think, in the next few weeks. That's going to be a big. First off, learning experience and then a big clean out. So, it's going to take 2 or 3 trucks and a trailer and stuff like that. So, we work at any capacity, any load, at any time. So,
Okay.
yes, sir.
So, yeah, it's not like, hey, we're just, we're gonna pull up in some jeans and whatever, or however you dress, but
Yeah.
you're saying like if somebody needs a larger job, that like there are, you know, it's not just moving boxes. It's like, hey, if we need some bigger stuff, we can get that stuff
Absolutely.
going as well.
100%.
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So if somebody were like, you know, we need this, like what's the avenue that you want people to reach out to you? What's the avenue that, you know, they
Sure.
can
So
find you?
yeah. So right now we're social media. Everything's launched, or it's in the process of being launched. You know, so I believe we're happy to LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, connect there. We want you to kind of reach out to us is via phone number. My phone number's on our website, all over the social media platforms, and then email as well. So any platform would be fine. A text message or a phone call or whatever would be great.
Okay. So then, what's the name of the business? I should ask this at the beginning. What's the name of the business, and then what's the number that they would call?
Yes. So JBT Cleanout is the name of the business, and 502-592-7511 is a good phone number to call.
Okay.
Yes,
Cool. So is there any other, as we wrap this up, I mean, is there anything else that you think, hey, these are things that people should know about us, or, anything that you want to get out?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very exciting opportunity is what I'd say. And I think it is a very big learning curve, and I kind of iterated earlier to the younger people listening to this. I would say, take that risk right now. Especially, I'm 23. Don't wait till you're, 40 years old to try to, start something, or, just take that risk now.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it doesn't work, you're going to learn so much. So we've always said, if this business doesn't work out, what's next? So it's always, just because we're young. And I think a lot of younger people get a little, and to your point, I mentioned you mentioned college. And I learned so much in college, I'll tell you that. Go to college, get a degree, and then you have to, work the 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then, which is a lot of people do that, and a lot of people do great. But I would just say don't be scared.
Yeah.
Don't be scared of what somebody thinks of you. Don't be scared to, go on that podcast or show your face, or, take an interview, I guess, and show your face and do whatever. But just kind of, just take a risk now, and you never know.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
How does it feel taking that risk?
I love it. There's so much, and it's just there's a lot of I'd say freedom to it. And just like yourself, you took that risk as well, a couple years ago, starting your business. So I think it's one of the best decisions I've made, and I think, I give a lot of praise to my two partners who kind of have that mindset too, because we're all, I got a full-time job that I love, and they're working full-time, and, but we're all at the same time, we're we have time to do this and take a risk and, operate on, at different times. Yes, it feels great. Yes, sir.
Yeah. It's I tell people all the time, it's like building a plane while you're flying it.
Yeah.
Because you don't know where you're going or landing, but it's part of the journey right there.
That's right.
Well, Ben, thanks for coming.
Well,
Give me
it
the
was a
chance
pleasure.
to, explore more and learn about your business.
Absolutely.
We've met before, but it is exciting to see, to take that leap and see how far it can grow in the beginning stages, man. So, like you said, in the next 3 to 4 months, man, I mean, how big can this thing get out of all that stuff? But excited that you were able to sit down and take the time all before the snow hits. Like I said, when you get the chance, reach out to Ben if you have any removal needs. And obviously, I think the great part too is that you're tying into a charity, rather than just all profit. Like you're helping the client as well.
Sure.
So with that, we'll wrap up this. I want to say mini series. It's not a podcast. This is just a mini series. Like I said, reach out to, what was it,
JBT Cleanout.
JBT Cleanout.
Yes, sir.
And we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Will. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thank you.